Welcome back to It's been so long since I've actually made this thing. I don't remember what the title is. Anyway, question one. Welcome to the trivia section. How much does a polar bear weigh?
Um, I don't think it weighs anything.
Well, that was the
Because it
trivia
doesn't
section.
exist.
Why don't they exist?
Well, because you asked the question, it was a trick question. Anything that's asked in the trivia section doesn't exist. That's how trivia works. I don't know if you know that, but it's like a secret about trivia shows.
Amazing. I think he might be our smartest interviewee yet.
I know.
Alright, welcome to the non-trivia section. Question one. How would you deal with Shrek showing up at your house?
I don't know because I've never seen Shrek, but um I would probably take my gun that I use for intruders that I like keep around next to my door just in case like a neighbor knocks in the middle of the night and I can get away with killing someone on self-defense. And I just like shoot him a bunch of times.
So you're gonna shoot Shrek in self-defense.
Yeah, I would always shoot someone if I think I can get away with like in a court of law. That's how
I,
self-defense works.
Question two. What is your favorite dinosaur?
I like the ones that look like birds. Uh, like I don't know what they're called. They're like pointy. From the land before time, like Petrie or something. Yeah,
Pterodactyls?
yeah, exactly. I'm not like a loser, so I don't know the dinosaurs' names, but I do know what they look like. I'm a casual fan.
Question three. What animal would you say best portrays the color of your aura?
Mm, probably humans, because my aura is purple, and I don't know, I just associate humans with the color purple because they're magical. And purple is magical, because like it's always associated with magic and popular culture. That's not like an interesting take or anything.
What's your favorite color?
Um, red, because of blood.
Do you have a lot of blood?
I don't think so. I think I have less than the average person because I take some out, like humors, and they do bloodletting with leeches, and I just think my humors are unbalanced, and so I take out my blood with leeches, and I think since most people don't do that, well, it makes me more emotionally balanced than the average person, but that also means I have less blood, which is unfortunate because, like, if anyone was like, I needed to take out this many liters of blood or else I'm gonna kill you, and then I was like, shit, because I wouldn't have enough blood after taking out that many liters, while most people would. So, and then I just exsanguinate to death, which would be cool too, I guess.
I think that's an inspirational lesson that many of our viewers can learn on the nuances of modern medicine. So let's go to question five. What instrument are you most proficient in?
Probably the screwdriver. I mean, like, instrument. I don't know if you meant musical instrument, but I assume you didn't, so screwdriver. I'm pretty good at using them.
What do you typically use screwdrivers on?
On? What do I use them on?
Yeah, what do you use your screwdriver on?
Oh, I usually use them on people's eyes. I think they're the most convenient because if you can dilate someone's pupils enough, then they're just a hole. and you can go through the hole in their eye, like the pupil, using like one of those super thin screwdrivers when you have them like uh down to your vivisection table. You go into their eye with the screwdriver and you can unscrew their brain through their eye. It's really convenient, I think. I, that's not what screwdrivers are intended for, but I guess I'm just a really creative person when it comes to the use of my instruments.
Truly, you are one of the most inspirational modern artists of our day. So then, question 6. As a sort of artistic figure, what do you think happens when we die?
Um, I have to think. I've never thought about this before. Um, I don't really think we die, honestly, because there are all these like homes for old people, and like they're sort of removed from society because they're not productive, you know. So I think, I mean, have you ever seen someone die?
I have not, and I have never died myself.
Exactly, and I think that's the case for most people, and the people who say they have seen someone die, they're usually like either brainwashed by the government or like have a chip implanted in them, or they're just working for the government themselves. Um, because what happens is that all these people who are like trapped and ostracized from society are disappeared by the government, and then they like replace them with a body double. And the CIA, they trap you in like a room, and that's hell because some people have been there and returned. Those are like near death experiences. That's what the CIA frames them as, because they don't want, well, okay, obviously they don't want their whole cover blown, but that's what people who say they've seen hell are describing. And the CIA takes all these people after they quote unquote died and just collects information from them, you know, interrogates them, traps their souls forever, and they just keep rotting forever. You know, like those vampires that start aging, like in that movie The Hunger. Um they start aging, but then they like never die, so they just sort of live as skeletons and they can't move or anything, and they keep them in a room like a bunch of coffins, and they're just trapped there forever in the dark, disintegrating, but like they never stop, lose consciousness. It's really inspiring, I think. I can't wait for that to happen to me.
It's interesting, actually, that you bring up vampires, because now that we're going to question 7. Have you ever been a vampire? Why or why not?
Honestly, I knew you were going to ask that. That's brought it up and sort of have prophetic visions. And I have been a vampire, but I decided the lifestyle wasn't for me, so I'm not anymore. I don't really like to talk about it. It was a difficult time in my life.
That's alright, we can just move on to question 8. How do you feel about being a member of the Diego Committee?
Um, well, I feel great. Fantastic.
Fascinating. So let's move on to question 9. Who is your main in Super Smash Bros. Ultimate, and why are you wrong?
Um, Dracula, and I guess I'd be wrong because I've never played, or, well, I don't know what that is, so I don't think I'm wrong, but if I was, that's why I would be wrong.
Well, that's a very compelling argument. So let's move on to question 10. How do we solve the Middle East?
Um, well, to be honest, I don't think we should solve the Middle East. It's really none of our business. It's the business of the Middle East. Oh, and if we're in the Middle East, we should get out of the Middle East.
Do you think the people that currently are in the Middle East should get out of the Middle East?
Well, I think they're on Earth, and I think everyone on Earth should try to get out of Earth and go to a different planet because I just don't think Earth is a very inspiring place. Like, I think if we were on Mercury, we'd go up further. Like, I don't think we'd have any of these problems that we have now. We would just live in love and peace and, eat figs and, like, I don't know. I mean, they would have to be Mercury figs, but I'm sure those are better anyway. Oh, and it would be like super hot, and people like to move to hot places like California, so I think Mercury would be like just that, but a million times better. So yeah, like in a sense, I do think they should leave.
Let's go to question 11. What is the worst book?
The worst book, um, hmm, I would have to go with the Bible because it's not the Quran.
Well, then let's move on to question 12. How do you feel about the current style of architecture, and how would you improve it?
Which current style of architecture?
So then we're moving on to question 13. What do you believe is the significance of rocks?
Rocks. Okay, so rocks are incredible. I just, I mean, I don't know. It's like asking what is the significance of air. There's this great place in Madagascar, and it's just a bunch of spiky rocks, and I just think they're so useful. Like you can throw them at people, you can impale yourself on them, you can build stuff out of them, but not houses, because like houses should be made out of rock. Like I don't know. I just feel like people who aren't into rocks, who don't have rock collections, they're the saddest, most pathetic people I've ever met. That's enough for me to think that rocks are probably one of the most important things that we currently have as people today.
Well, then going off of that, question 14. What would you say is your greatest inspiration?
Mm, I would say that your YouTube channel is currently my greatest inspiration. Just like I didn't know about it before, but looking at it, it seems like you've done a lot of good work for the community, and that's just I've just been thinking about it this whole interview. Like, wow, you can just go online and do that. I don't know. It's just crazy to me. So,
Well, then let's move on to question 15. How many Roys do you feel you're entitled to know?
at least 12, maybe more.
And question 16. What would you say is your greatest passion?
Uh, Rocks, probably.
Are you saying that rocks are a greater passion of yours than my YouTube channel?
Well, they're pretty close, but um, unfortunately, nothing is above rocks, not even God. So, I mean, rocks are God, eminently rockular. So, no offense to your YouTube channel or anything.
Well, then let's move on to question 17. What is the best country?
Oh, probably Mexico.
Well, since that was an easy one, let's move on to a harder question. Question 18. Do you support racism? Why or why not?
Um, Well, it depends what kind of races they're talking. I'm not sure. I'll have to think about that one.
Well, we can come back to that one later. For now, let's just move on to
Okay, okay, I'll be thinking about it.
let's just move on to question 19. What is the largest animal you could beat in a fight?
Hmm. Uh, I could probably beat an elephant because I don't know, they just seem weak, you know? Like I, I don't know, it just doesn't seem like it would be that much of an ordeal fighting an elephant. Like they have these massive feet and like it doesn't even seem like they could kick me with them, so yeah.
How many elephants do you think you could take in one fight?
Probably 4. 5 I think would be a bit much because they could surround me in a circle, but 4 is like the best shape they could form is a square, and squares are like a really weak shape, just in my opinion. I really hate squares.
Question 20. What do your teeth taste like, and how did you come to this conclusion?
Uh, they just taste like meat. I know because I tried one. I went to the dentist and I had to get a tooth removed because I was biting on it to try to see what it tasted like. And he didn't let me keep it, but after that I snuck into the room in the back where they keep all the teeth. They have them in like vials with this strange lighting. It's like really fucked up. And anyway, I found my tooth and a couple others and I, like sauteed them and I didn't add any flavors because I wanted to know what they tasted like. And they just tasted like meat, like elephant meat, I think. I've never tried an elephant though.
What an enlightening answer that reveals the dark truth about America's dentist dental industry. So then, on the topic of mouths, for question 21, what are your favorite and least favorite accents?
Accents? Uh, I'm not a fan of any, honestly. I don't think we should talk.
Why not?
It's just so useless. I mean, I find that I can never communicate anything unless I'm doing it telepathically. And the way telepathic communication works is, I mean, you don't have accents. It's not like communicating verbal information. Verbal written information is mostly a sham designed by various industries to structure our thoughts. Like the government, like I was talking about earlier, the dental industry, all of these systems that want to control our minds, the way the grammar, syntax, all these things that we need to structure our language, they're just fundamentally designed to force us into particular ways of thinking. So, like right now, I'm talking to you, but I can never truly communicate what I mean because my only means of communicating it is, through these avenues that have been designed to prevent communication. So, accents just add insult to injury because they add a cultural context to that, which just further alienates the meaning. Yeah, I don't have anything else to say.
Truly, you know so much about the dark underbelly of our dental industry. So let's move on to a more lighthearted one. What are your favorite video games and why?
Um, I like The Sims because I like controlling people. It's just an easy way to exercise my sadistic fantasies without getting arrested. That's pretty much it. I'm not much of a gamer.
Well, then, question 23. If you're not much of a gamer, how do you feel about poetry?
I hate it. Words again. It's just anything on the matter of words. It's just I just don't like it.
Well, then, since you seem really upset about this, question 24. What are your plans?
My plans, well, I have a lot of them, but as we're talking about words, I I want to eliminate them as soon as possible. And the way I plan to do that is by sewing people's mouths shut and like cutting off their hands so they can't type or talk. And I think that'll just restructure everything and then communism will come around. So that's my plan for the future.
It's glad to see such political aspirations amongst our youth. So then, let's move on to question 25. Do you support the troops?
No.
Well, let's move on to question 26. What's a funny story?
Um okay. This isn't a true story, but I was thinking like with one of my friends. Okay. So like if you had a grocery store. No, like you didn't have a grocery, but like you worked at a you worked at a grocery store. And okay, so you got hired at a grocery store and okay, I lost my train of thought. Um yeah, okay, so you're like you're a normal worker at a grocery store like Trader Joe's where like people have to be nice to people, you know, like they have to flirt with people at the counter. Okay. And then you you just act like a normal worker, but every time you're like, "Hey, I'll close up for you guys. You can go home." But instead of like closing the store, instead of closing, okay, instead of closing, okay, I don't think I can stop the store. Can I move on to the next question, please?
Well, that was definitely a funny story. Let's move on to question 27. Question 27. What is the wackiest flavor of pizza?
Um, Definitely no flavor. That's how I always take my pizza, just the bread. Some people don't call it pizza, they call it like bread or flat bread or like whatever name you have for bread, it's flat. But for me, that's pizza at its purest. It's just it's the only good flavor. Everything else is tainting the core of the pizza, which is just the bread.
Well, then, on that same note,
Sorry, I can't stop thinking about the story. Move on.
for question 28, on the same note as the wacky pizza flavors, do you support the government?
Um, well, that depends on what they're doing. For me, like all of this things that I've been talking about with language and surveillance, I absolutely don't support. But like being a government, I do support that. And obviously, like as a I was gonna say something, but I forgot. No, I don't support the government.
So let's move on to question 29. Who did you vote for in the 2012 election?
Um, Obama.
So then question
I hope he
30.
was a candidate. Wait, I voted. Was Obama a candidate then? I voted for him because he said because in one of like the debates, he said, "Death to America, long live the sublime Ottoman Empire," and that just really resonated with me. Yeah, you can move on.
Obama was a candidate in the 2008 and 2012 elections, yes.
Okay, thank you.
Question 30. What's your favorite mythological animal?
Uh, I don't know what mythological means. Probably like unicorns because is that a mythological animal?
Yes.
Okay, I really like them because you can stab people with their unicorn. Unicorn.
Well, then let's move on to question 31. Would you like to see a magic trick?
Yeah,
Well, let's move on to the next question. What number question is this?
32.
That's correct. That means you're a magician. You've done the trick.
Thank you.
Question 33. What core belief do you believe is most important?
Integrity and honesty, although I think those are synonymous, so they're one core belief. I don't know what integrity means, but I think it's probably really important.
Question 34. Is it more ethical to eat a 1-year-old or a newborn?
Definitely a 1-year-old because the newborn just hasn't seen enough of the world to be jaded by it, but the 1-year-old is already sick and tired of living, so you're just putting it out of its misery.
Question 35. Would you teach me an illegal skill and which skill?
Could you repeat that?
So let's move on to question 36. What are the requirements to be a Diego?
Well, I'm not sure. I don't know what a Diego is.
Well, then let's go to question 37. What's the most expressive syllable?
God. Hello? Hello? Chai.
Question 38. What value do you believe art contributes to society?
Integrity.
So then, question 39. Are fascist guinea pigs worth saving?
Um, no.
Well, then before we move
They all
on,
get the bullet.
what?
I said they all get the bullet.
Good. Before we move on to our final question, let's return to question 18. Do you support racism? Why or why not?
After thinking about it for all this time, I've decided that I don't support racism just because, well, I don't know. I would have to think a lot more to have a why.
Well, I'm glad you're such an American hero. So then, For our 40th and last question, how would you rate your experience overall?
Definitely like 9 out of 9 on the star system because I just love your YouTube channel. But in life, I think everything is perfect overall.
Well, that was another episode. Thank you for being on the show.
Thank you.